The right of fasting. May Allah forgive us. Allah, the doors of Tawbah is always open in the eyes of Allah Ta'ala. So the first thing we need to do before this Ramadan ends is we need to make sincere Tawbah first for all those sins, for all those shortcomings that we may have done during the time of fasting. Because the fasting is just not a ibadah. It is the main ibadah, obviously one of the pillars of Islam, fast of Ramadan. But it is not just a ibadah though. It is more like a training program for a Muslim, for a person of Iman. How are you supposed to live for the 11 months of your life when the Ramadan is not there? Basically speaking, that's what it is. However, a lot of times we think, okay, Ramadan is first, the fasting of Ramadan is first, so fine, we'll fast then. But we kind of do not get the point of fasting. So while we are fasting, we are still doing those things that takes away the barakat, that takes away the blessing of fasting. And when the iftar time comes, we become happy, alhamdulillah, one another roza, one other day, Ramadan is gone. Successfully we have fasted. We did fast, but we successfully didn't fast. That was the problem. So we need to make sure that we make tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the time that we may have done someone's ghibat during the fast. We may have done backbiting of someone. We may have looked at something we weren't supposed to look at. We may have heard something we weren't supposed to heard. We may have said something from the tongue we weren't supposed to say. There's a story, that incident that happened at the time of Prophet ﷺ, and I'm going to conclude with it. It's something very serious to understand. And this is just one example. This is just one sin. There are a lot of other sins that encompass the same kind of effect as well. Two women, during the time of Prophet ﷺ, they were fasting. And something happened to those two women that they became hungry. Now everyone becomes hungry at time during the fasting, it happens. But this hunger was different. Those two women, they became hungry to such an extent that if they had not broken their fast, they would have died. That's not normal. So the complaint went to Prophet ﷺ right away, that these two women, they're in dire situation, they have to break the fast. So Prophet ﷺ told them to vomit in a bowl. They vomited. Now when they vomited in the bowl, fresh blood and fresh meat came out. Where did that come from? So the Prophet ﷺ, people are surprised, where is that coming from anyway? Fresh blood and fresh meat. The ladies were fasting the whole day. And so Sahaba again, they were very surprised to see it. The Prophet ﷺ said, these two women, when they started their fast, they started their fast with the halal rizq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They did sahri with the halal rizq, but during the fast they did ghibah. And what does the Quran say about it, as we know? That basically more or less ghibah is same thing as eating the flesh meat, meat of your Muslim brother. That's what it is. So we need to understand, it doesn't happen to us, but that doesn't mean that our fasting didn't get messed up due to these reasons. So may Allah Ta'ala forgive us and accept whatever fasting with shortcomings, imperfection that we have done, and may Allah Ta'ala make it perfect into His bargah and into His court, inshaAllah Ta'ala. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.